I'm in the ghetto. Ratatata. Ratatata.
Let me ask you something. What kind of prisoner are you?
What?
Well, you're a prisoner, whether you want it to be or not. And you've always been, and you always will be.
What do you mean?
Well, look at it this way. Right now, you're stuck at home. Yeah? You could say it kind of sucks. You could say it feels like a prison. There are things you can do and cannot do, and so you're kind of limited by what you can do. And you have a warden, probably your parents, um, telling you what you can do and you can do, and the police and this and that and this and that. Sure, the situation now is very particular, it's out of the ordinary, but you've always been a prisoner. The same goes for when this is finished, or if it, let's say, it didn't happen. You're a prisoner at school. You have to go there. You have to do homework. You have to listen to some things, or even work. There you have to do stuff because if not, well, you don't have a work. Or even, let's say, sports. There's things you can't do and you can't do, and you have to follow rules, and there are limitations on you, and so you're sort of a prisoner of those rules. You're a prisoner in some way. Your power to act is limited. You have limitations that you cannot exceed, which makes you a prisoner. It could be your parents, it could be your teachers, it could be yourself, it could be your own body, it could be your friends, your habits, your past. Listen, if you're skeptical, then let me ask you this. How come we all have cells? Not knowing in a prison doesn't make you free. Ignorance is bliss, sure, but that just makes you a naive prisoner. And why am I telling you this? You know that just because you are a prisoner, that you have your liberties limited, that doesn't take away your freedom. And by freedom, I don't mean freedom, my actions don't have consequences, because they do. And by freedom, I mean not the freedom of action, but the freedom of thought. No one can take away your freedom to think, what attitude to adopt, or how to see a situation. And that goes for any situation that you're in. With this current situation and all future ones, you have a choice. You decide how you will act in the face of this challenge. Will you surrender to the easiest or the natural way to go? Or will you rise up and make the best out of it? Are you going to mop around and complain like the Israelite did in the desert for 40 years, not do anything, and just wait until they die to become the vulture's desert? Focusing only on the past and wanting the cucumbers and melons that they got in Egypt, forgetting that they were slaves in Egypt? Or will you be like King Manasseh, that repents in a Babylonian prison after being dragged around with a hook in his nose? Because he didn't listen to God, worshipped idols, sacrificed his own kid, and did other disgusting atrocities. He also looked, so in that prison cell, he looked at his past and decided it was awful and that he needed to repent. So he prayed to God, and God set him free. Or will you be like Paul and Silas, not focusing on the fact that they are in a prison, but rather focusing on the fact that God is almighty and worthy to be praised at all time, no matter the situation? Or will you be like Esther, who defied the odds and entered into a kind of weird beauty pageant to become queen, even though that she wasn't part of technically the kingdom, their nation, while the Hebrews were basically slaves and workers that they were taking exiled. But she entered that contest, defied all the odds, won, became queen, and then saved the very same people that were slaves and workers. Being somewhat a prisoner, she focused on the future, on the possibilities of the future. Or will you be like Joseph, despite being unjustly sold into slavery by his own brothers, then helping those around him and above him to be even better, and then being unjustly sent into prison for something he didn't do, still helping those around him and above him, being useful and helping out. He focused on what he could do and how he can help. Now, my question to you is, what are you going to do? What are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on your past, on the bad sides of all things, and see that, oh, before it was better and whatever? Or will you see things for what they actually are and make them better? And I challenge you to take this time to look at your family and at your own life, to see the bad things and the good things, and to do something to help make it better. You're the only one that can choose how you react, how you think, how you see things. No one can take that away from you unless you let them. Or let them, by them I mean the situation, the fear, whatever it may be. You really have the choice to choose what to think and what attitude to adopt. Choose carefully.